Hey everyone, we're going to do some extra practice graphing of some piecewise equations here. So let's take a look at our first one. Well, first off, I'm going to look and say how many equations am I going to write. So I see I've got 3 segments on my graph. One here, one going down here, one going up here. So we have 3 sections. So I'm going to write an equation, and then again I need to write my domain for each one. So I like to start with the domain just because that's easier for me to see. So my first one starts when x is -7, stops when x is at -2. So my first segment is from -5 to -2. I'm going to look at my next segment. So in segment 2, my domain, it looks like, starts at -2 and goes until +2. And then for my final segment, I'm going from +2 until 5, 6, 7, 8, till 8, so 2 to 8. Okay, so there's my domains. Now I need my equations. So I'm going to start with my first one, and I need a slope, and I need either a y-intercept or a point. And I'm just going to do a point. I like to do the point where the graph begins or ends, so I'm just going to start here and say that point is at -7, -2. And my slope is going up 1 over 1. So my first equation I'm going to do is going to be my slope, which is 1. I'm going to move that to the side just a little bit. 1. In parentheses, I do x minus my x point. Well, my x point is -7. X minus -7 becomes +7. And then my y-coordinate, which is -2. Okay, so there's my first equation, and I'm going to throw on my domain. Okay, now let's do my next equation. I'm going to find my slope. So I'm going to look at my next segment, and from one point to another, I'm going down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So it's -2. And then I'll do x. I need to minus my x-coordinate, so I'm just going to do where I started here. So it's at -2, 3. So I'm going to do minus -2, so +2, and then +3, +3. And my domain, which is from -2 to 2. And then my final one, I'm going up 1 over 1, so I've got a slope of 1 again. I'm going to pick a point. Here it's at 2, -5. And again, I could pick any point on this line. That's just the one I chose. So I say x minus my x number, and then keep my y point. My y point is at -5, so -5. And then my domain was from 2 to 8. And there's my equation. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to try this next one. So pause the video, try this next one, and then you can see how you did. Okay, let's see how we did. We should have 2 equations on this one because I have 2 segments on my graph. So again, I like to find my domains first. So my first segment, well, it's going forever in the -x direction. So it'll be from -infinity until it stops when x is 0. Open dots get parentheses, infinities get parentheses. Okay, my second domain, where did it start? It started when x was at 0. Closed dot is brackets. And then it went forever in the x direction, so to +infinity. So there's my 2 domains. Now let's write our equations. So this time I think I'm going to use the y-intercept, because I see the y-intercept on both of these graphs. So I'm just going to do my slope, which was down 1 over 1. So my first equation is going to be -1x, and my y-intercept, which is at +1. Domain, -infinity to 0. My second equation is going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So it'll be 1x. My y-intercept's at -1, so -1. And then my domain, from 0 to infinity. There's my two equations. And we're done. Again, we could have picked a point. We could have picked any of these points and minus the x number and stuck on the y number, and we would have been fine. Okay, here's our last one I want you to try, so give it a try, and then you can see how you did. Okay, let's see how you did. So there were 3 segments for our graph, so I have 3 equations here. I found the domain for each one. So my first one started at -4, ended when x was -1. My next one went from -1 to 3. My last one went from 3 to 4. So we can see our domains there. Open circle gives us a parenthesis. Okay, and then for my equations, my first one had a slope of 4, so it went up 4 over 3, so it's 4/3, and I just picked my first coordinate here and just did opposite my x, kept my y, added 4 minus 3. Okay, my next one was a slope of 0, and again, I just picked one of my points on my graph here, and I just picked the point 1 or -1, 2, did that first point there. Opposite the x, kept the y. And my last one, again, slope of 0. It's not going up at all. Write 3 down 2. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that was some good practice for you, and it'll get you ready for your quiz. Have a good day.